Finally, welcome back to the Marching Arts Podcast. I am the Stress Master.
And I am the Tumor. And as I've said many, many times, although it's been a couple of months since I said it, not because of anything negative, I just marched spot B9. That's it.
This has been an hour of us trying to figure out how to get this damn thing to record. So welcome. We're glad you're here. This has been an interesting couple months. I put out quite a few videos. You're in the process.
I haven't.
Yeah, that's okay. That's it. You have an excuse. You're trying to sell your house. You're trying to move. You're trying to do all kinds of stuff. So, and Jenn is.
I bet everybody thought you just fired me. You know.
Well, you can't fire someone that doesn't get paid.
Well, there is that.
So, I mean, come on. And Jenn's been dealing with Girl Scout cookies.
She's a Girl Scout cookie pusher.
Yes. Selling lots of goodies to everyone. Okay, so
flogging their wares.
Flogging their wares on an innocent public. Yes. So
what I wouldn't do for Girl Scout cookies, but they're just too expensive to ship over here.
Yeah, I just realized my daughter might be coming over here in about 10 minutes, so I'm going to have to make sure I keep an ear out because I don't know if she's coming at 1 or when she's supposed to come at some time. Because we were supposed to have been done recording by now, but unfortunately we had stuff happening. But anyway, so we're here. There's a lot of stuff that's happened, since the first of the year. A lot of political stuff. We're not going to try to go too far into that today, but, you know, we might dive a little. Well, let's see. But anyway, so our goal here is to kind of talk about what's going on. A lot of things have been happening. We're pretty much getting into WGI season. I didn't think about that, but I probably should pull up some scores and see what's going on in WGI. But before we get there, I think we're going to dive straight into the news.
Ooh. And now the news?
And now the news. Okay, so our first news story, I thought this was kind of cool. Let me make us a little bit smaller here. Sorry. And my cat, you can see my cat's tail is in the shot. Cascades, they are in their 57th year of competition, or not competition. They took some years off. Their 57th year, and they are looking to grab some more people. So if you are interested in marching, if you've ever wanted to march, now's a great time. They are a great organization, actually. Hold on, let me move this out of the way real quick.
While Justin's moving stuff about, because we're a professional operation here, I'll talk about the Cascades a little bit. I loved their show last year.
Oh yes.
I said during my recap of the year, I said easily the best use of a prop all season long.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? They weren't the biggest core last year, but they were a tight unit. They were really tidy. They were pretty clean. But more than that, their show was entertaining from beginning to end. Absolutely, I love their approach.
Yeah, and considering they haven't been fielding, for a long time, that was a really well thought out show. Very comprehensive in its design, and I thought it was fantastic. You knew what the story was. You could follow it from beginning to end. There was no ambiguity or anything like that. I thought it was a really cool show.
Yeah, and it's one of these organizations. Well, you never hear bad stuff coming out of them. Let's support these guys. Let's make drum corps in the Northwest big again.
Exactly. And you can see here that their tuition is $5,000. It's usually paid in 6 installments. And you can see, and this will be in the description if you guys want to go to their site and visit and see what they're about. But that is theirs. And
look, let's elephant in the room. Let's talk about the tuition. In the grand scheme of things, there's going to be people our age, also known as dinosaurs. They're going to say, back in my day, tour fees were $450. We're not back in your day. And I've said it before, and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. Look at other summertime residential youth activities and compare the price of drum corps, compare the price to them, and I think you'll actually find drum corps is actually a really good value for money.
Yeah,
Yeah, when you
I mean, when we marched 30 something years ago, it was $400.
which is probably the equivalent to the better part of $2 or $3 these
Yeah.
days, but fuel wasn't as much, so on and so forth. But I mean, I've seen summer volleyball camps for the other 2 weeks that are like $12,000. So
Yeah.
you're gonna go, you're gonna be housed, fed 3-4 meals a day, every single year, with great instruction. Yeah, I think it's a good value for money.
Okay, so we have a show reveal from Spirit. Ooh. I am not going to play this because all it is Elton John, and we're going to get copyrighted out of existence. But it's basically all songs dealing with rockets and stuff like that. So Rocket by Def Leppard, Piper Jump by Thomas Newman from the film Wall-E. So it basically has that kind of thematic stuff to it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So a little known factor, you may or may not know this, my last year marching, when I finally put up my marching shoes forever, and maybe you could intersplice some video in there or whatever, was with the 2019 Kids Grove Scouts. And our show that year was, we actually had Rocket Man by Elton John in the middle of our show. And it was, what it did is it actually opened up my musical brain to listen to more Elton John. I always knew that I liked Tiny Dancer as one of my favorite songs of all times, which is funny because my wife absolutely despises Elton John. But it opened up my brain to listening to more of his discography. But no, I think this is a show I'm really looking forward to.
Welcome to February 10th.
Hi, I'm Joe Roach. I'm the executive director here at Carolina Craft. So it's February camp. It's our last brass camp before we see the full drum corps in April, and we're focused on two things this weekend. The first half of the weekend was spent combing through the brass book with the Crown Brass. We played through 4 parts of the show, and the second half of the weekend was spent with our production team, led by Tyler Edrington and Ben Henley, really starting to dive in what the characters we're going to be creating, what it takes to be creative, and put the show together here at Carolina Craft.
Yeah.
As the design team's been approaching 2025, I think the big focus has been on kind of over-the-top theatrics again here at Crown. We've really enjoyed filling the stadium, giving the viewer just a larger-than-life production, and that was kind of our nexus again, with a big push, a big impetus on the visual side of the house this year. One of our strengths here at Crown is our musical package with Crown Brass and playing amazing literature over the years. So this year, as we started thinking about 2025, we started on the other side of the aisle, really focusing on kind of what the visual impact is going to be, what those theatrical moments are going to be, and then building the musical package around that to bring it to life. And with Wes Cartwright at the helm of the visual package, it's been a lot of fun with the team to create. I think the thing I'm looking forward to most is getting the full drum corps back together in April for April camp, and then debuting a radically bold and strong look and sound for Carolina Crown in 2025.
Yeah, definitely going to have to get rid of that. All right, so thoughts?
You go first, because my thoughts are going to maybe be a little bit edgy.
Yeah, so because I actually watched this before we started because I was checking audio and all that stuff. But one of the things that really caught me was that they're emphasizing visual first, which usually it's the brass and then they put the visual around it. So I'm glad they're doing that because I think they've been struggling for years with a comprehensive package in terms of visual, drums, around the brass instead of it being all together as one big thing. You know what I mean? It always seems like it's like it's always brass and then everything else.
Yeah, my edgy comment would be that it's been the Carolina Crown horn line and drum corps. It's always been so centered around the brass package that it almost seems like the visual and especially the percussion takes a back seat. There's been a lot of turnover in their percussion section as far as staff and design and instruction over the last few years, and I think that's quite frankly bit them in the ass. And then when you get to the 2024 version of Carolina Crown, again we're still really dependent upon the brass section, but Rutro, everybody else got better. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that last year had to be a wake up call, because they could have just as easily tumbled down the rankings to 7th or 8th, than where they finished. That being said, the other thing that he said that worries me a bit was debuting a bold new look. Now, let's be honest, Carolina Crown has had some pretty stinker looks.
Yeah, I think every year's a bold new look, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
every year.
I mean, they shocked the world. They shocked the world with the purple pants. Then they became the turquoise pants band, and this, that, and the other thing, and then what? I can't remember the name of the show.
Translucent core.
The translucent core. And then there was a couple of years ago. I'm getting old, so my memory's going. But where they came out looking like lizards or something like that, and I was like, "What in the God's green earth is that?"
Yeah.
What I want to see from Carolina Crown is I want to see a solid brass line, as I would expect from Carolina Crown, but I'd like to see less emphasis on that one section and a better overall product.
I totally agree.
When I think back to E equals MC squared, okay, you think about the visual package with there. It was relatively simple, but executed to a very high level. That's why they won the DCI championship that year.
Exactly. And like Inferno and some of these other shows, just like really amazing visually.
I think with Crown as well, from a design standpoint, it seems like they either hit or they swing for the fences or they strike out. Okay.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is you look at Inferno, E equals MC squared. I'm probably in the minority, but I actually thought the 2014 show was better than E equals MC squared. Mm-hmm. Except for people got really annoyed with the trampolines.
Yeah.
I can look past the trampolines. Obviously 2016 was, but you take those other years. Tell me what they did. I can't remember, because they're just, quite frankly, forgettable shows.
Yeah.
So I hope that we take it back to what made us good. What made us good was accessible shows performed to a really high standard that people will walk away remembering.
Yeah, totally agree. So I'm hoping that they fix the course this year. All right, we have one more kind of thing. This is Troopers. He's talking about their final part of this series they've been doing for the last 3 years. This is going to be the 4th season. So let's take a listen.
Tim, what has been the reaction to the Corps members to this show as it's unfolding?
I have to go back to Sunday after championships. We announced our show the day after finals. And I was standing in our banquet and I said, all right, we're going to announce the show in a couple of hours. And the kids were like, what? What's happening? What are you doing? They thought I was joking. And then right behind me pops up a picture of our show poster. They love the idea. They love this storytelling. They have bought in. The kids that come to us want to be troopers.
Is there anything you can tell us more specifically about the 2025 show?
You're going to see this trooper come to terms with they're at the end of their time here. We're opening the show with Funeral for a Friend, and that's we're in present day time for this trooper, and our trooper is realizing they're too old. They don't have the strength that they used to have. They mentally have it. They just don't. They literally don't have the strength to do the things that they used to do.
Goosebumps. That's got such potential.
I finished it a couple of weeks ago, and I can't stop listening to it.
How do you present it visually?
We're taking a different stance this year in terms of how the troopers look. We are going to be a lighter color. We're going to be mostly white. It's going to look like we've aged through this process. There's going to be a lot of white. There's going to be a ton of color in the color guard, and you'll get the sense that you are in the West watching this story unfold.
Tell me about the evolution of these trooper shows.
In reality, it's the end of 4. They've all kind of connected in some way, shape, or form, and that's where the first show starts. You're young and you're doing this thing and you're virile, and then the second show is we're at the point in our life where we think we can capture the sun, and then you're wrestling with all the things that you've done throughout your life in fighting with the devil, fighting with that person that you've become and you've been, and then now how do we put that to rest? How do you end someone's lineage in some way, shape, or form?
I saw the video of the incredibly sized horn line. I mean, you guys are off to at least by all appearances, a tremendous start.
Yeah, and it was equally as large for the percussion. They had just cut down a lot, and in the picture that was posted on social media, there's probably 50, 60 percussionists sitting in the stands for that picture that they took, because they rotate in and out for different parts, and at that moment they took that picture. We had just under, or maybe even right over 300 kids at that camp, which is that is a record for the drum corps. This is unprecedented, uncharted territory for the troopers, and it's really cool to see it happen. They want to wear the hat, they want to be a trooper, so it's pretty cool.
Okay. So, I mean, that is... I mean, I guess my thoughts are... Unless you want to start.
I'll go and let you collect your thoughts.
Go ahead and give it a
go. Yeah, are the troopers going to be a better drum corps this year than they were last year? I truly believe so, absolutely. Funeral for a Friend, great piece of music. Again, we have a little bit more Elton John creeping into the drum corps activity. That being said, I'm gonna go off piste a bit from what I've always said about the troopers. I'm getting a little bored, if I'm honest with you. I thought 3 years of this trilogy was enough. We sent the devil back to hell last year. I could have ended it there. But again, therein lies the problem. The troopers have become such a identity-led corps, that it's almost like if they try to do anything else, well, that's not a very troopers show, And I think Madison kind of ended up with that same sort of a situation as well, when they explored doing stuff outside of their wheelhouse. And it kind of bit them in the ass for a few years as well. Now, a corps like the troopers, they've now established themselves. They're not. I hope we make finals. They damn well expect to make finals. As they should. Okay. So it's a huge risk though for them to go outside of that wheelhouse and try something different. So. I hope I'm wrong, and I'm certainly going to go into 2025 with an open mind. But my initial thought was, I think this might be a year too much of this theme, of this chapter of the Troopers.
Yeah. So. I mean, last year I thought was the weakest of the three.
Oh yeah, no question.
And I don't mean that in a bad way, because if anybody from Troopers is watching, it was still a great show. But I meant from a
design standpoint.
And I think that's what they remember. They fire their designer, like in the middle of the season.
They fired their guard staff in the middle of the season. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought they got rid of the visual designer as well, right?
I believe so as well. Yeah. Correct us in the comments if you're a Trooper and we're wrong.
Yeah, but I think that's what they really struggled with, was connecting the dots of the show, because we saw it when we were early season. We're like, I didn't get the ending. Even at finals,
there was too many elements.
Yeah, and the fight scene was really anticlimactic. At the end, I mean, to me, it should have been more.
To me, it should have been stab, end, job done. But it was stab, big note, and then some more. And that to me didn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, but anyway, I kind of hope that this year's show is going to be. I don't think it's going to be as epic as the other shows, because we're kind of looking at the end of someone's life. But maybe
watch them.
You never know.
Watch them end up in top 5 now.
Hey man, what do we know, right? I wanted to pull up the streaming schedule for Flow Marching. Okay, so I'm not gonna try to open a debate here, but a lot of people complained about Flow Marching, and I'm gonna tell you something. Watch any show from the 2000s and tell me if it's even watchable, and then tell me how bad Flow is, because every time I try to watch a video from the 2000s, it looks like a mess. It's just...
There's a reason why we don't react to many of them here.
It's just bad video, just horrid. And you watch the 80s, great videos. 70s, great videos. 90s, great videos. And then 2000s, it starts to kind of horribly look bad. It just looks bad. So
I think they were also switching from analog to video, or analog to video about that time. So
yep, and then now that we're on digital, everything looks great again.
Sorry, digital. I meant
yeah. But I mean, if you don't like Flow, then don't watch it. But I love Flow because it gives me the opportunity to watch shows all summer long, and we get to react to stuff.
My only complaint about Flow, it's not the price. I think Flow represents actually a good value for money. Mm-hmm. You can watch drum corps and BOA and all that other stuff to your heart's delight, and it's still a hell of a lot cheaper than going to the shows. And for me, it's a hell of a lot cheaper because I'd have to fly there. My biggest complaint about Flow is I hope against all hope they could sort out the bloody licensing issues. There's nothing worse. So like for me, I live 5 hours ahead of the East Coast in America. So for me, I'm wanting to get up in the morning and watch the shows from last night, and there's no audio, and that's just frustrating as hell.
Yep.
So what I have to do is I've got to have some cockamamie scheme where I've got Flow playing while I'm sleeping, and then I can go back and rewind it. Yep. Otherwise, there's no chance of me seeing it. So, but yeah, I agree. And you know what? Flow for all the stuff that, and we're not Flow apologists here, because if Flow's doing something wrong, believe me, we light them up. But for all the negative stuff that you hear, look at this schedule that you get access to, and in addition to that, they do a lot within their limited marketing ability to try to promote the activity as well. So
yeah. So the reason why I brought this up is because there's a lot of shows, man. You get to watch a lot of shows. I mean, it's like $30. You get to
scroll down to the bottom all the way. By the way, make sure everybody watches that Sound Sport bit. Yeah, we did a podcast on Sound Sport. Yep. Make sure you support that.
Absolutely, and the All Age.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot more to drum corps than just DCI World Class.
All right, do we want to watch something? Now, you had something you wanted to watch.
Yeah.
Let me pull it up.
So this is a video that many people have probably saw knocking about on the internet a few years ago. And this is the George Mason University Band playing Bulls on Parade by Rage Against the Machine. So what I want you to watch in this video is the world's hardest going flute player by a country mile. So press play, Justin. Let's go. So this is George Mason University, just as a taster, and I'll keep talking while Justin's flipping videos here. So from the university that brought you that is the university that's going to bring you what I think is the most fantastic. So we've got all these show reveal shows. They're all super heavy and deep and esoteric and all that stuff, yeah? This is, by a country mile, the best show reveal you'll ever see in your life. Make it big, Justin.
All right, here we go.
In a world where every indoor show is sad and like super deep, one man dared to say, I literally can't even. From the legendary mind of George Mason comes the most cockamamie indoor drumline show of all time. No tragic backstories, no existential metaphors, no interpretive dances that invoke deep, unanswerable questions about the meaning of life. This winter, prepare for a show so bold, so ridiculous, so meaningless, it just might change drumline forever. Or not. Meaty chops, zero emotional damage, and big-ass props that move. A show by the founding father that's also a university that's also a drumline. George Mason University Indoor Drumline presents The George Mason Show.
Okay.
So, do you want to watch yours, or should we watch this now?
So this is their actual show.
That's it. The actual show is the first video I sent you. Come on, then.
Okay, hold on.
Performing their 2025 program, The George Mason Show. WGI's...
I can't wait.
Excuse me, Bradley. What was that? I'll take it from here. You want to finish my announcement? Indubitably. Please let's do the 2025 program. The show about the founding father who's also a university, who's also a drumline. George Mason is proud to present the George Mason University Indoor Drumline.
I do like the use of the rope snares here as well. And
yeah.
Obviously the Mylar heads. It's good sound. And do you remember what I've always said, though, when we talked about VKs? If you're going to be funny, you better be good.
Exactly. Hey, I'm going to move us up to the corner here. Sorry. Here we go. All right, cool.
Just listen to the esoteric lyrics in the background. It's just all it says is just George Mason over and over and over again.
Hello! Good evening, everyone. Who am I, you ask? Well, isn't it obvious? I'm George Mason, and welcome to my illustrious indoor drumline show. We have drums, we have pit, we have cymbals and shit. We have melody and groove and big drums that move. I said, big drums that move.
Big props that move.
I've seen shows about less.
Yeah.
I mean,
And look, for those watching, neither Justin and I are drummers. We just enjoy it for the showmanship.
yeah.
So, But we can tell what's clean and what's dirty as well. So.
And the design.
Completely done. I mean, there's a lot of velocity in this show that I quite like.
Yeah. Wow.
Yankee Doodle bass break. We got ones, twos, threes, and fours. Swings. Look at us hand to hand and more. Like
Yeah, really nice hand-to-hands from the bass drums there.
Lasers, lasers. Come and get a wheel blood from the different car bomb in the moon smashers.
Very cool.
So when I'm watching the video, I'm about 5 seconds behind, so I don't know if I missed it already, but I know there was a cymbal drop that was covered brilliantly. Nice dynamics in the snares there as well.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool. That was really cool with the snares there.
George. Oh, George.
Definitely very creative.
You wouldn't do an indoor show without me, would you?
My love.
God.
Might want to talk over this bit because this is the bit that would probably get this video canned. So we'll just keep talking over the top a little bit here. Sorry, folks. But I think something that's really cool here, though, and it's actually a pretty clever design feature, I think, is by having the narrator in the beginning of the show, it does kind of take the eye away from other sections. So if there are sections that maybe a little bit weaker or whatever, I think it's pretty clever from a design standpoint.
Yeah.
Take the eye away. We got lights, we got robots, I mean, come on. And GE flags.
Yep. And they have to have the most important ballad section.
Yes. I just love the flags that just say GE.
Hilarious.
But now, there's only one thing left to do. Left! Get off the floor!
I think those are the first lyrics that haven't been Mason.
That is kind of creative, I gotta say. This whole show, man.
Love it. I've often said that WGI think sometimes just takes itself way too seriously, and I think this is just a breath of fresh air. Are they going to win WGI? Nah, they're probably not. They'll place high, but I just thought it was a really fun show that it would be somewhat topical for us to have a look at. But I think now is the time to wrap this thing up. Yeah. So what I would say that we haven't done our normal begging, which is, and I'll do that now. All right, so I think it's time that we start wrapping this thing up. So we haven't begged until now, so I'll do the begging. You can do like your begging montage here if you want in the edit, Justin. But if you like what we do, if you'd like to support us, easiest way you can do that, we'd really appreciate it, is just hit the like button down below. If you like what we've had to say, give us a comment. If you think we're a couple of knobheads, that, by the way, was a British swear word of the day of the past. We don't have time for one this week. However, George Mason, or should I say George Mason, did give us a British word in indubitably. So we'll go with that. However, if you'd like to give us a comment, that would be wonderful. We do also have a membership scheme as well, and we just really do appreciate all your support. But I know that Justin's got some videos coming out over the next couple of weeks. If he doesn't, he does now. I'm in the middle of selling my house, so half of my stuff is packed. I've literally only got about half my PC out at the moment. So, in fact, I've got 2 of my 3 monitors are gone at the moment. So I really struggle just to do anything video-wise. But if I can get something out, I will. But in the meantime, I think there's only one thing left to say. Well, do you have your goodbyes, Justin? Go on.
Yeah, well, first off, make sure you visit our YouTube page. That way you can see all the wonderful videos we have, over 200 videos. You can also visit
buy a t-shirt.
You can visit our merchandise store. I'm actually going to be ordering some merch coming up really soon here. So we have some great merch on there. Please make sure you support the channel. If you become a member, you actually get early access to our videos. So as soon as we post them up, before we release them, you actually get early access. So make sure you visit our YouTube channel. So
with Jen's fans, she'll be back next time.
Yeah, she's like I said, she's in the middle of Girl Scout cookie season, so she'll be back when our next podcast. So,
well, as I do always say, it's just been a while since I've said it. No matter who you're doing it with, no matter where you're doing it, no matter how you're doing it, or no matter when you're doing it, just when you're doing it, make sure. What is it? Do you want to finish this one? Don't forget the finger point.
March on.
March on. Ciao.